what is your magic? Sometimes it's difficult to convince or persuade the grad students to follow an entrepreneurship path. So what do you do to encourage them?
Yeah.
I'm sure you have a lot to say.
Well, for me, I'll tell you my own story, right? So I definitely became more and more interested in entrepreneurship as I learned more about how people have used it to make impact, right? Because again, as scientists, researchers, we're trying to maximize our impact. And the reality of it is that if you're exposed to a lot of examples where people have used entrepreneurship in making huge impact, then you become excited about it, right? So that's really, I think, what separates a place like MIT, let's say, and working in someone like Bob Langer's lab from working in some other place, right? Because you get exposed to it over and over and over again until it kind of gets into your DNA. Even if it wasn't there at the beginning, you definitely get some gene knock-in into your DNA because of seeing it and hearing it and seeing how it's made major improvements in people's lives, right? So I think that's really important. Just kind of programs that not just tell you the nuts and bolts of what it takes, but inspire people to go into that direction.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Ali. So we have received plenty of questions. I don't know how much, because we were supposed to finish this basically talk at 10, but I don't know how much time do you have, Ali?
I have time. I'd be happy to answer more questions. Yep.
Wonderful, wonderful. So let's go to the to those who raised their hands. We have Nihal. Let me just unmute you, Nihal.
Hello, Nihal Engin Burana, Sparta Medical. Ali, what I would like to ask is, in the Terasaki Institute, up to now, what you have done is more top-down, in the sense that having a experienced CEO. Do you plan to do more bottom-up, like enabling the postdocs to form their own companies, moving in that direction?
Yeah, well, I think you're totally right. One of the things we're trying to do is to really get the people who want to make these things happen, right? Because top down only allows one person's kind of thoughts to get it incorporated, right? So my experience from the time I was in Bob Langer's lab is that it's good for me to be the gatekeeper, but allow lots of ideas to kind of develop behind the gates and see which ones of them kind of meet the bar for us to kind of reveal to the world. So that's really what we hope to do at the Institute as well. So really be able to get top-notch people and then give them freedom. Give them freedom to come up with ideas, give them freedom to explore with other people, to interact with other expertise or institutions so that we can actually come up with the best ideas and come up with the best solutions to them. So, and one of the programs that we have to kind of encourage that is actually something called the Terasaki Fellow Program, where we bring in people who we think are at very junior stage. Let's say they just finished their PhD or a year or so into their postdoc, but we bring them in with the intention that, okay, we're gonna give you some flexibility and freedom to come up with processes or ideas or thoughts that you think are gonna be world-changing. And we give you that freedom to kind of explore and try to make it happen. And we provide resources as needed to enable people to do that. So that's, again, and I think that works for both people who are interested in entrepreneurship, so you come up with ideas that you can actually spin out, or people who are interested in academia. So again, you come up with thoughts about what is the next big thing and try to enable it and then become an independent investigator, ideally even at the Institute.
Thanks.
Awesome. So the next question is from Mehnush. Mehnush, can you talk? We can't hear you. No. Let me just unmute her again. No, your microphone is not working. Maybe you can write your question in the question box. So, so we have Venkata, if I pronounce your name properly. You also raise your hand.
Yeah, I am a PhD student from McGill University. So I read many papers from Professor Kadan Hussaini, and especially in 3D bioprinting part, I mean, like he didn't explicitly focus on laser-based bioprinting. May I know what are the reasons for that? I mean, like, are you pessimistic about that approach or anything like that? Femtosecond laser-based?
Yeah, so you know, so one of the things I always say is that I don't really, I'm agnostic to a lot of different technologies, because I think at the end, different technologies are good for different things. There are some limitations with any of these different technologies, right? So whether they're extrusion based or kind of stereolithographic or other things. So I definitely think there, for each one of these, there's areas where there's opportunities to do. So you know, one of the things, if I haven't done something, is because, you know, I definitely wished I could do it, except, you know, I haven't had the bandwidth. But I definitely try. Yeah, I don't see any limits on what, you know, 10 figures can do. So I always tell my students that you know, if you get inspired by people like Dr. Pepis and Dr. Langer, I think you realize what individuals can accomplish.
Right. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So so let's look at the question box. We have wow, so many questions. So Yasaman Pushidani from Tehran Polytechnic. Her question is, what is the best way to know the market needs? How we can find a potential field that we know can be commercialized?
Yeah, so I think the market need, first of all, it's good to understand the clinical problems, you know, at least in our area. Just, you know, there are big problems out there, like, you know, there's cancer and cardiovascular and, you know, particular things, diabetes. There are big problems out there, right? So once you understand the big problems, then you actually look into them deeper, and you start seeing, okay, what is the actual things that have been done, and what are the specific problems that remain in those particular solutions that have been implemented. So this is a process that's, you know, just kind of, there's many layers to it. There's, you know, initially you would, you know, kind of do some survey of different areas, and then you start seeing some opportunity, then you zoom in and dive deeper into particular areas. But, you know, the main thing is to really read broadly, be open to many different types of things, be open to ideas, be open to areas, and then interact as much as possible with people from different fields, and try to, you know, not be limited to your own kind of direct, immediate expertise, but try to be just open-minded. What I had to go through in my own development is, you know, I initially developed my own expertise in a particular area, but then every time I did something, I added something to it that I didn't know before. And that's how you can start kind of